All right, so is everybody ready? All right, so now we will be reviewing Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or like I said before, Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
So which episode are you talking about?
We're gonna be talking about episodes 5 and 6, obviously.
If it's 8, if it's 5, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If it's 9, it's Captain America and the Winter Soldier.
6, you mean? Because you said 9.
Yes,
and you,
I said 8 and 9,
and
and
you
I corrected it back anyway.
And you call yourself a math teacher.
I'm so used to episodes being, and we'll talk about that later. But that's 6 episodes is way too short.
Eddie, how do you count from 1 through 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
4,
9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 7.
I'm just playing. All right, so we'll just start talking about it casually and see where it goes from there. I thought episode 5 is probably my favorite episode of the entire series. Me personally, I think episode 5 is my favorite.
Yeah, when you
episode.
said that, I still don't really understand too much why.
So no, that's good.
I liked it, but like I was.
That's good.
Like,
No, that's good. It's good. To me, the reason episode 5 is my favorite, and to me, it's tied with episode 4, but I think episode 5 goes a little bit above. The reason I like episode 5 a lot is because the fight that they have with Walker, like that's what we wanted to see, right? Like the resolution to that was awesome. It was bloody and
it was
you know, it wasn't gory, obviously, right? But you know, I really like that they were able to get bloody, which is something you don't really ever see in the MCU. Especially when they break his arm, I'm like, yeah, that's what you gotta do, honestly. But I really like that as
legit. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No. I really like that just as a thematic way of like they had to break him, you know, in order to get it back. But then I like that the episode kind of cools down, you know, for what will ultimately be the finale, right? And it's in that cooling down that you actually have, even if it's kind of an easy metaphor, you have that metaphor then, you know, building the boat back, and it's kind of like it doubles as a metaphor for them building their partnership. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Having to work together and stuff like that. But I also like all the character moments that you saw when he was like, when Falcon told him, you know, don't. What did he say? He says, "Don't flirt with my sister." And you know, just it's you know, it's chock full to the brim with little moments like that. And yeah, in general, I kind of it becomes my favorite because you have the action and you have the quiet moments, and it's not just a quiet moment episode. You know, it's you have both, and that's what I like about it a lot, and I think that's thematically also. It's definitely one of my favorites, but yeah, sorry.
I did realize that too. It's just I don't know. I was just like, not too sure. If it's my favorite though.
Mm-hmm. What would
Like,
be your favorite?
Like it, but,
What would be your favorite?
I don't know, to be honest. Maybe 4. I don't know. Maybe 4. I did like 6 though. I don't know why.
You did like 6.
Yeah,
That's
I like 6.
interesting.
I don't
Jessica.
know why.
Jessica.
Yeah, I would say episode 6.
Episode 6. Interesting. All right.
That's what you asked, right? Yeah, episode 6.
So what did you guys think? You know, in terms of satisfaction, were you satisfied with these last 2 episodes, tying up the story, or
I
was?
feel like episode 6 was too fast. Like Eddie said, I feel like it could have been more episodes. But yeah, I mean, I like that it ended on a happy note.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And do you like
I like that.
which one do you like more? Now having seen both, do you like WandaVision or Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
WandaVision.
Interesting. All right, and you, Eddie?
Can you hear me or no?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. A little bit of a lag, but you're good.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Just what did you think about this these last 2 episodes as a conclusion?
Yeah.
Was it satisfying, or was it not satisfying?
I did have some issues with 6 though, and it's part of. I like 6. I really like 6. But I did have some issues with it in terms of.
I can't find the song Ready Like 6.
Who's
Alexa.
whose is that? Is that who's
Mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he's the one who said it.
It's a good thing she wasn't able to find the song. But yeah, so definitely, I liked 6, but I didn't like it. 6, if it were a standalone, like if it were the first episode I had seen, honestly, and like just trying to figure out what's going on, it probably would have been a very good episode. But I didn't like it happened a little bit too fast for me. For me, I was picturing Sam like between episodes 5 and 6. It was like he opens the suitcase. I guess episode 5 is about making him be ready to take the mantle, but I still expected a little bit more. Episode 6 opens America, and that's cool. But like, I wanted it to be a little bit more, I don't know, dramatic, meaningful, whatever. And part of that is because they went a little bit too fast. So I think if they had slowed it down, maybe another 2 episodes or something like that, they would have had more time. Also, I think Carly was the most compelling that I've seen her, at least in my opinion, in episode 6. But because I mean, it made more sense. Like, I know that they had been building her up as a certain character in the first 5 episodes, and then they completely changed it. In the first 5 episodes, to me, it felt like they were building her up as a sympathetic character. I mean, they were building her up as a sympathetic character. You're sympathetic to her thoughts and her methods, all that kind of stuff. And then episode 6, she just kind of turned into a douchebag.
Yeah. But you liked her in episode 6, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but that's the thing. I liked it because it's more consistent. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just looking at her, if you're just going into episode 6 on its own, you're just looking at her as a bad guy, and she plays that role well. But if you're looking at it from episode 5 to 6, it doesn't really make sense.
Interesting. That's a roundabout way, but interesting. Well, it's because to me personally, I just feel like, they're building her sympathetically, and then all of a sudden she just turns into a douche canoe. And that's how it is with all Marvel villains. Like, they're sympathetic until they're not.
Yeah.
Right. Even with Thanos and Endgame.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm saying like I didn't think it was going to happen, but they were kind of, especially in I don't remember what episode it was, one of the 3 or something like that, where Sam talks to her one-on-one, like maybe he'll reach her. And then obviously John Walker came in and ended that right away. But like they were building, it seemed like they were building towards that. He was still going to try and reach her. At the end, she was in episode 6. She was just too far gone.
Yeah,
I say more compelling. Can I say more compelling because like she has a more defined role in 6.
Right before she died.
What was that?
Yeah, she says, "I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Right before she died.
Yeah, but I get to it.
Yeah.
I know, right? I'm sorry.
Exactly. I was like.
She's more to me. I'd say she's more compelling. That sounds weird after I was building her up in the previous episodes, but it's more compelling in that she has a more defined role and she plays it better if you understand that that's her role. You know what I mean?
Interesting point. I don't agree.
I hate it. Well, not that I hate. I like Sam's new outfit, but I hate the shoulder pads.
I loved his outfit. I
loved his outfit.
I thought it was pretty awesome. When I saw it, I was like, that looks cool. Like, it
just looks kind of. But like, it's just me nitpicking. His shoulder pads are too cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. What, Joseph? Did you not like it?
I wish it would have been like a full helmet. It would have been cool, but it's still.
Yeah. This little neck thing he has, it's very Falcon, but I didn't like it.
Interesting. And Joseph, what did you think about the costume?
I was underwhelmed because you were like saying, "Oh, it's so freaking awesome." Then when I saw it, I was like,
I thought it was freaking awesome. I mean, compare.
Like, it looks cool, but I think the fight was a little bit too much.
No, that's the whole point. That's the whole point with the fight. Like, because look,
I know, but
compare it to Captain America. Compare it to Captain America's costumes. His costumes are pretty Like, part 1, I really like that costume, but the first Avengers, it's and then after that, it just becomes more because it's just like the same. It's like John Walker's costume. Yeah. It's.
I mean, I'm
it's
not
muted.
It to Captain America. I'm just
that's the whole point.
It's the whole.
Well,
Like
but Go ahead.
I was gonna say the one where he had the beard, the long hair. That was a nice costume.
Oh, that was cool. Infinity War.
The Infinity War one.
The
Yeah.
Nomad Captain America.
Yeah, I would say that one. Yeah, because he becomes nomad in that one. But I don't know. I just felt like with him, with him and the wings and stuff, it just made it like a different costume. It's Captain America, but it's Falcon. You know. And those wings,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're vibranium, because
Yeah, because they're from Wakanda, right?
yeah. And when he's bringing Carly down, that was just like the perfect representation of his costume. He's not only is he Captain America, but he's almost like a angel risen up, you know. And the white, like what's so great about it is that, and I actually saw an interview with like the person who, who first made Falcon into Captain America in the comics, and he talks that the reason he uses white is because it's such a juxtaposition of him as a black man taking on this mantle that's usually for a white man, and kind of like leaning into the whiteness of it, which is by making the
I think
costume.
it's obvious. I just don't think it looks cool aesthetically.
Oh, interesting. I like
thematically. Yeah, it makes sense. But aesthetically, it looks.
I don't know. I feel like
okay.
I think it's accurate to the comics too. If I'm not mistaken.
I feel like in the end, it's more visually interesting than Captain America's other costumes.
Probably.
Personally.
But I was still like, yeah, it's okay. No, like, I wasn't going crazy about it.
Interesting. I really loved it though, but interesting.
It's okay.
I don't know. In a world of like MCU costumes for regular people being kind of like I thought his is definitely like one of the better ones. You know, like when it comes to the regular humans, like I feel like when it like Iron Man is a regular human, right? But
you can't beat Iron Man.
But he's Iron Man, right? So in a sense, he's like this robot, and he does give off that aesthetic, right? And then you have Spider-Man, who's not completely regular human either. He's like
Spider-Man's awesome.
Yeah, obviously. So I feel like when it comes to the humans, like Bucky, like his costume is just like a blue whatever.
Black Widow, Black eyes, are all pretty basic. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like in that realm,
like his arm though, his arm looks so cool to you.
Yeah,
black
obviously.
and gold.
Mm-hmm.
So cool.
So like in that realm of regular people, it's I feel like it's definitely one of the better ones.
Yeah.
And it's definitely gonna stick out. Like once they, they have their eventual Avengers.
That's probably why they did it too, so it can stick out more. Distinct.
Sorry, we spent so much time on the costume, but what did you guys think about Sam's kind of the word that he used to defy Carly? Because I was like, she say, "Stay down, Sam," and he's like, "No." I don't know. I just thought it was funny, like switching out, Steve's "I can do this all day,"
Yeah.
That's
exactly right.
And Sam was just like, "No." I just thought that was. I mean, obviously.
When did he say that? I'm trying to.
She like kicks him down to the ground, like in their final fight, and she's like, "Stay."
Oh, okay.
Stay down, Sam, and he's like, "No."
No.
I'm like, I don't know. I thought that.
I first thought of like that you were saying I could do this all day, and then I immediately thought of Isildur from Lord of the Rings. Cast it into the fire.
Oh.
No.
I didn't think about that. That's
a little
funny.
bit too nerdy, but
But okay, so going back to episode 5, what did you think about John? Let's talk about both of them in tandem, so we don't have to separate. What did you guys think about John Walker's arc?
His arc?
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. We can't see you, but we can hear you.
Yeah, we can't see you, but we can hear you.
I can't hear anything you guys are saying. It sounds so.
Oh shoot.
Am I logging in and logging out?
All right, hold on. Before we continue, let me stop.
Okay, I can hear you guys.
Sorry about it. Technology sucks. All right, so going into the arcs, right, of the characters. John Walker's arc. What did you guys think? Just repeat everything you said.
Yeah, like I said, then part of the same problem for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was definitely from 5 to 6 to super rushed. I think, if he hadn't come out in episode 6 at all, it would have been fine. The way they ended it, the way they ended his arc, and he could have had like a little redemption later on. But it was so sudden. Like episode 5 comes up, and all of a sudden he's a good guy. It's a little bit weird.
Well, episode 6 comes up, and he's a good guy. Because episode 5. Oh, sorry, you're confusing me. Because
I mean, it's like I don't have a problem with him having a redemption arc. I think that's great, especially because of the character that he's supposed to be, U.S. agent. But it just felt forced.
Yeah, I would not disagree with that at all. It was pretty forced. Like my brother was saying, like in episode 6, it seems like him and Bucky are let bygones be bygones.
Yeah,
that was kind of weird.
And dude, and then he uses the freaking Lincoln quote.
Lincoln line, yeah, and he's like, Link. Like, yeah, he's a good guy. He's like, it's a good quote. It's like, yeah, but not when you say it or you use it.
Oh, that's funny. It's almost like they're self-aware about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was yeah. I thought I was like, oh, okay, so he's just a good guy now, I guess.
I know, it was kind of, yeah.
Although I thought, like I was telling my brother, this could have gone both ways, right? It could have gone, they kill him, and he's incapacitated, he's gone, that's it for his character. Or they break his leg, he goes to prison, that's it for his character, he's still a bad guy. I kind of, even though it's rushed, I kind of like what potentially might happen in the future. Him being this kind of anti-hero, in a sense.
Yeah, like he's like the Punisher, basically.
Yeah,
basically. And it's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, if you have any problems with the arc, it goes back to what I said. With the conclusion.
Yeah.
If you watch episode 6 on its own and you don't understand like everything that came before it, then it's kind of cool, But it just the transition from 5 to 6 doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it feels really fast. Yeah, no, I would not disagree. Not only that, but episode 6, surprisingly, is one of the shortest episodes of the entire series. It's kind of like, why? Like you could have used so much time to add stuff.
Yeah.
It's just it feels unnecessarily quick. Obviously. Despite that, though, well, actually, let me go back to John Walker for a bit. What did you guys think about that scene when John Walker was basically being reprimanded in court? Huh?
In what sense? Like what aspect?
Yeah, well, so one aspect that spoke was when they were telling him like what he did wrong and stuff, and he's like, "I just did what you told me to do. You made me," right? He like yells at them. I thought that was really interesting because it kind of spoke to the whole, basically what the U.S. does to soldiers in a sense,
Military.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it shows how it compounds, or not compounds, but exclamation mark on why he's not in America. Steve Rogers questioned, he was a soldier, right? But he questioned he questioned the orders that were given to him, and then he broke away. This isn't right, kind of thing. Versus John Walker's like, I'm a soldier, I want to follow orders, kind of thing.
Yeah,
it's like a little exclamation point on "You're not Captain America."
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting that when they cut that deep on the military. Usually, movies and shows they don't. They're pretty, they have no criticisms because there's a lot of deals that go on with the military. Sometimes they fund movies and whatnot. And, yeah. So
I mean, it's consistent with like it's consistent with Civil War. It's consistent with Winter Soldier. So it's like, yeah, you're right, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it does, and I personally liked it because I think this whole series has a lot of criticisms, right, about a lot of stuff of America, and I think it's good. I think it's interesting because too many people think or paint this picture just through their words, even if they don't intend to. of America being just like this perfect country when it clearly isn't, you know. And I do like that the series is touching on little issues here and there. That, but yeah, I was just wondering what you guys thought. I mean, I personally am not a military person, so I wouldn't want to say that like anything in, put words in their mouth. But I feel like, it was pretty fair in its criticism, especially the whole, like his line, you made me, it's, in a lot of ways, we're all made by the things that we go through, right? And as those people going through the military, I'd imagine that there's a specific soldier that they want out of people,
Yeah, I thought it was interesting how it's basically like, the government forced him to do like, all this stuff, and then like they take away everything from him. Like he doesn't have any, what do you call it? Like special, what is it? Like the money that you get after you get out of the service?
Yeah, they took everything away.
They're like, oh, you don't have that, you don't have anything, this and that, and that happens in real life. Like people, they could get like discharged for something, and maybe even if it's not too major, because maybe that was major, right? But like that can happen, and then like they have nothing. What do you expect them to do? Like at that point, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, because like you say, you made me, so it's like it's your fault.
Yeah. But they're like, nah, like who cares? Like,
Yeah.
They're not gonna listen. Like that's what sucks.
It's just like the government to put the blame on somebody else and not themselves.
Yeah.
So interesting. That's why I wanted to touch on that. All right, so moving on into episode 5. What did you guys think about that whole scene with the boat and them like fixing the boat and stuff? Just like everything, like because the show does spend a lot of time on that, and I know there are some people who when they see that they probably check out, because it's technically boring, right? Quote unquote.
What part? Sorry, it's just like I like blanked out for like 5 seconds.
Oh, that part with the, when they're fixing the boat and stuff. Because it kind of.
Oh, when they picked him and Bucky.
Yeah. What did you think?
Yeah, I liked it. It was cool.
Right.
Yeah.
I was like, finally, we see them together. Like, I don't know why it felt like so long. I see them together, but like, I was like, finally, you get to see them like doing something normal. It was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Sorry, Eddie. What were you saying?
Yeah, what were you gonna say?
It's a nice break from like you said. I mean, like you mentioned a little bit earlier, it's a nice break from the action. I wasn't really I don't think I had any issues where I was like, oh, this is boring. I thought it was pretty cool. Like seeing it's more character development, which is needed for those characters. Ian, for Sam, and for.
Am I mistaken in thinking that his talk with Isaiah is in episode 5? It is, right?
Which talk? He talks to him in 6.
Right, he does talk to him in 6, but it's the talk that Isaiah tells him.
When he talks about becoming Captain America, right? That's 5.
Yeah, it's episode 5.
What did you guys think about that conversation? Did you think it was written well? Do you think it was heavy-handed? What do you think? Especially
when he takes the shield. That one.
It's the scene where he's talking.
The shield over there to Isaiah.
Oh yeah.
He does.
Yeah, that's why he takes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I think it was a little bit too strong, but I mean, I do think it's something that's relevant because, it's not something like when he was giving the speech, I was like, Isaiah was talking, he was giving a speech, I was like, I mean, it makes sense that, he's like this test subject, and they want to learn more about. Not that it's right, obviously, of course, incredibly wrong for them to like capture somebody to study them. But it makes sense, it's not something that I would put past, branch of the government. But then you see that they didn't do that with Steve Rogers. Like, I mean, even if it's not a race thing, it's something that's good to think about.
It's something good that they what? Sorry,
It's something good to think about. Like, why was Isaiah captured and not Steve?
Yeah. Yeah. That is true. That is so true. I didn't think about that. The fact that he's captured and tested on, and
Yeah.
Steve
I
wasn't.
mean, you can say it's because, I mean, even if it's not directly because of race, you can say it's because he was like the face of the war. Versus Isaiah, who's like undercover. It's easier to get rid of him. Like, why would he go face the war? And I mean, and that's a product of the times, right? But you know,
It's interesting though.
Yeah.
I think it might. I think it might. I don't know. I think it probably might definitely be a race thing, in the sense that, like, had he been a white person, hey, here's a Captain
especially
America.
back then, I mean, it could be for sure.
Because at that point they thought Captain America was dead. So, if if a white person had those powers, hey, here's a new Captain America. I would assume that that's the direction they would have gone into. I mean, especially during that time. I mean, remember in the '60s, it was still very racist. In America. Mm-hmm. So that's actually not too hard to believe. You know what's interesting though is I looked up like what the real world concurrent event was to what he's talking about, because he says Tuskegee, right? And I was looking it up, and on Wikipedia they said that there's this thing that happened from, it says it was from 1932 to 1972, and it was the Tuskegee syphilis study. And basically what it did was the purpose of this study was to observe the natural history of untreated syphilis. So although the African American men who participated in the study were told that they were receiving free health care from the federal government of the United States, they were not receiving any free health care. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And it was spearheaded by the United States Public Health Service and the Center for Disease Control, so CDC. Not a good look for them.
Yeah.
And it was in Tuskegee, Alabama. But yeah, and that's basically the kind of like the real world equivalent of what Isaiah went through. So I just thought that was interesting, and it's just crazy to see that some pretty bad crap still happen really close to our time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was wondering what you guys thought about the line of, like, when he said, America won't ever accept a black Captain America. What did you think about that?
I think it was like, I understand what he's saying, but I think, like, in a sense, like, I guess, like, certain part of America, but I feel like, at least now in the times, I mean, we had a black president, 2009, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't think that, like, people would be like, oh no, for something like that. But I do think, like, in a sense, like how he says, like, maybe they might not say it like in episode 6, right? But like he's like, I can feel the stares, everybody's having their judgments and all that stuff. There would be like stuff like that, I think, and like kind of like I'm pretty sure there would be people maybe like would want to be like, nah, like try and stop him some way,
It's interesting that you bring Obama up.
I don't think like it would be like
It's a vocal minority, baby.
Yeah. I was gonna say, it's interesting that you bring Obama up, because I do think American people as a whole would accept a black Captain America.
Yeah.
At least a good majority of them, right? Because Obama did win twice, right? But what's interesting about what you're saying is that in terms of government, I think it probably would have been less so, because Obama,
that's right,
still to this day has been one of the only presidents subjected to like really racist conspiracy theories that politicians and government started. The whole idea that he wasn't born in America and all this kind of stuff. And nobody ever said anything like that about Donald Trump or Joe Biden or anybody else. So that's like something that's,
when it comes to government, that's also what I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That they might,
and when
it wouldn't be something that's public,
right. And when you think about it, though, right, it's the government that did what they did to Isaiah. So in that sense, there's that parallel, right, of the government still kind of being racist and I mean, still to this day, I've heard like a lot of questionable things. I've in the speeches that some politicians say, but I don't know. It's really interesting. I just thought, but it's also I also thought that it was just sad to see like a man like just broken down so much through his experiences to to be at that kind of just situation where he feels like the whole world is against him, and it's sad that there's people out there who probably still feel that way because of the experience that they've been
and I do that's why I didn't like dislike the line. I guess I didn't like just because like there's that where it's like maybe like nobody would be like we don't accept him, but like the fact that he feels it is a problem, you know what I mean?
There will be people who don't. I mean, even like even in the real world, like not even in their fictional world, there's people who have Sam as Captain America, but it's the vocal minority for sure.
And I guess like you said, like the problem would be like is that the fact that he's feeling that way, it's a mindset that like it's like they don't accept Captain America, but there's I guess other people in real life like they won't accept like a mayor or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, like or something like something more in real life. It translates,
And it ranges because like I don't know if you guys heard of Pedro Pascal being cast as Joel in Last of Us.
Oh yeah.
But me and my brother have seen like the comment sections, and sure, this is a minority of the internet, right? Well, in a sense, I don't know, because I see the comment sections on Facebook or IGN and all these kind of different places, and a lot of people.
It's still a minority in the sense that it's not like the biggest thing in the world, but like
a lot of
it's like everybody on The Last of Us thinking
a lot of
almost everybody, like good majority.
Yeah, and you see their comments and they're pretty racist.
Like that's not the way Tommy is. Why are they making it woke Last of Us? I was like, bruh. Oh my gosh.
Wait, because he's not white or what?
Yeah, because they're like Hispanics.
Because Pedro Pascal, he's Hispanic,
and because they also cast Tommy, just like the guy from Terminator, from Dark Fate, and he's Hispanic. Yeah, and so everybody was like, "What?"
I even saw a comment. They're like, "They're not like the Texas good old boys or whatever." I'm like, "What?" And the only reason I bring it up is because these comments they have hundreds of reactions, and you see the reactions, and it's heavily skewed towards the original commenter's intention, which is it sucks because. And I know we're going a little off tangent, but it's interesting because we're talking about stories of people of minorities and stuff. But tell me if you guys agree with me or not. Do you think that whenever it comes to a character whose race plays almost nothing to do with the story, that it's okay to just put pretty much whoever as the character?
Yeah, I think if you're the best actor, it shouldn't matter your race. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's
because I feel like.
Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was just gonna say because I feel like when it comes to like a character like Black Panther, right, or when it comes to Sam Wilson, right, the race is heavily tied to the story, right? So you can't put like a white person, right? You need a black person, and it will also help that you have some black writers, right? Because they know the experience, the experience as a black man or woman, right? Or say Hispanics, right? In the same gesture, you would want Hispanic writers. But that's if the race is tied to like the story. But for example, in Last of Us, sure, Joe and Tommy are white Texans, but beyond that, it's never a point like in the story that they need to be white.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you think, Eddie?
Yeah, I mean, I think I get where you're going from with this. I have absolutely no problem with Pedro Pascal as Joel. I think that's a great casting. I can see why people get upset. It's consistent. For example, I'm thinking of like Aladdin, right? And Naomi Scott. I thought she was fantastic for the role, but everyone was up in arms because she was like. She wasn't fully Muslim, or she was like I think she was Hispanic or something like that, right?
She was born in the UK.
Yeah,
No, she was born in the UK. She wasn't. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so she's not Muslim, but and there was a like a minority that was upset with that, and at this and I was thinking like who cares? She's as long as she plays the role well, kind of thing. I really don't have an issue with that. In that same sense, I don't have an issue with Pedro playing Joel. I mean, obviously Joel is Texan, as you said. I would, in that casting, I would very much like to see Southern accent. I'm not super well versed with Pedro Pascal. I don't know if he can pull it off, but if he doesn't have one, I don't think it would ruin the movie experience. You know what I mean? Kind of disagreeing with Jessica. If they're the best person to play the role, other than situations like, for example.
Yeah,
where the race, their identity as a character is tied to the race.
Yeah, no, and like I already said, I totally agree. I just think it's an interesting conversation to see how people and you're right. Like I understand where people get their apprehension from because they're used to seeing the character being one way, right? And now it's something else. But I think obviously the writer of the series, or the showrunner rather, he knows that if he's gonna do a straight adaptation, it's gonna be compared to the game,
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be impossible to find anybody who's like Troy Baker. He's so specific and unique in what he does with Joel that it'd be very, very hard to find somebody not only to be like him but be as good of an actor as he is. And I think with them going with Pedro Pascal and stuff, that's them being like, oh, an alternate adaptation. So like that, it's more focused on the show itself instead of like, oh, how does it compare? Well, I mean, you can't really compare anymore because now it's an alternate take. I was telling my brother it's kind of like what was that movie, Joseph, with Bradley Cooper? I always forget. Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga. Star is Born, right? It's like the seventh version of that, right? But it's a completely alternative take of it that it can stand on its own, separate from the ones that came before. And I think that's what they're trying to do with that show. Sorry we got off topic, but I just thought it was interesting. I think it all kind of plays into seeing obviously Sam Wilson take up the mantle as Captain America, and the Sam Wilson character in himself, being that he kind of needs to be, black, to have this story work. And maybe not black, he could also have been Hispanic, because I think minorities in general, they all have kind of like a shared experience of what these people have experienced through history, in terms of racism and whatnot. Yeah. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. So a little bit heavy there. Now going into episode 6. What did you guys think about the action in episode?
I like the. Oh, what?
There's quite a. We're all interrupting each other. Well, go ahead, you guys. And Jessica.
On episode 6, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about episode 6.
Yeah. What did you think about the action?
Okay, because I couldn't hear you. It was really good. Like I did say, it was very fast paced. My siblings, so David really liked the episode. He thought it was like the best one. I was like, after I saw it, because he built it up. He's like, it was amazing, blah blah blah. When I saw it, I was like, no, it was too much.
Oh no.
No.
I can hear you guys.
Okay, you're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep mine short in case it happens again.
So you were saying action too fast, but you liked it. What else?
Good. I liked it.
That was really fast. No. It's fine. What did you guys think, Eddie, Joseph?
I thought Sam was really cool. Like that helicopter scene where he like flies the helicopter with his wings.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked, it's like viewing episode 6 in a vacuum. Right? I keep coming back to that, but like that scene with John Walker where he's like deciding between getting the guy or saving the people was pretty cool, and then with Sam coming in at the last second, was like, cool. Yeah, that was pretty good. I liked all that.
Yeah, I like it's cool. I like how they had to like save people like in this one. Like,
Oh yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like they never really show them like save people. They're always like fighting against people. But I think it's
That's
cool
true.
that here like they showed them save people. I was like, hey, yes, that's cool.
Yeah. Actually, being heroes, right?
Oh yeah, Bucky. Yeah, that was so cool. How he had to like punch the thing. So the car, right? Yeah, so you can open it and get the people out. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like when Sam like sticks his. That's a cool little move when he jams his wings into the ground, like for.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and also in the helicopter when he kind of like dovetails into from the passenger seat side and like takes the guy out. Like I thought that was,
I was like, oh,
that was really cool.
That whole helicopter scene was cool. Like getting in touch with the pilot and like all that stuff. I thought it was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really cool. And what's so awesome is that it's totally tied to Sam and his Captain America and how his Captain America works. So he has different kind of action scenes, and I really loved when he was helping. So it's kind of interesting. I was seeing this review where they mention it where, you have Walker. He drops the Captain America shield, and you see it's all like bent and broken because it's not real vibranium, right? It's just metal.
Yeah, it's so true.
And he's pulling, but he can't do it. But then it cuts right to Sam doing it, and then you see just like the shot of like of the real shield and his two little birds like helping him push. And I thought that was like a really cool, nice juxtaposition, right? It's like this is the real Captain America, pushing them into safety and stuff, which I thought was cool. The one aspect of the action that I was kind of a little disappointed in was when he fought against that dude from Winter Soldier.
That one?
George St. Pierre?
Yeah, there you go. Oh, how do you know?
UFC.
UFC, yeah. It's because he's a UFC fighter, so.
Oh, no wonder he looks familiar, actually. I was like, why does he look familiar?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he also came out in Winter Soldier. He fought Captain.
But I've seen him before, actually, like on UFC.
Okay, interesting. But yeah, I felt like their fight. It was kind of like, it wasn't. I don't know. It felt like it lacked the impact.
Yeah, right.
Like.
Yeah.
Like, because it just felt like they were just like patting each other, like Sam was. Well, one thing that I did see that people were saying that Sam, his technique is avoidance. Like he's not trying to fight; he's trying to avoid the fight, and you can see that in his choreography where. He's doing backflips and he's jumping away and stuff. He's trying not to fight.
Oh, he did that with Carly.
Yeah, that's where you see it more prominently for sure. But in general, I just felt like that fight between him and the UFC fighter, it was a little, just kind of flaccid.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the only part. That was kind of, but what was a really cool aspect of this action is that finally you have something that's kind of like small stakes. Like in all these Marvel movies, it's always like the world's ending and this is ending and that's ending and this is gonna be destroyed, and now it's just like save the people from the helicopter, save the day, be a hero. It's like kind of like
cool.
Back to basics. Like especially when you compare it to like the original superhero movies, like Spider-Man 1, 2, that kind of stuff. I'm like, cool. That I like that. Yeah.
Your friendly neighborhood Captain America.
Sorry, what, Eddie?
Your friendly neighborhood Captain America.
Yeah, friendly neighborhood Captain America.
But it felt like that's why I'm saying like I think that's also why like they show him save people and stuff. It's kind of like that, like that's what Spider-Man usually does. So
and
I thought that was
he was in New York, so where was Spider-Man?
He was
far from home. Oh wait.
No, that was a couple of months after Falcon was open, right?
I don't know.
I want to say
because they're on like vacation, right?
Yeah, no, I want to say Falcon and Winter Soldier was before Far From Home.
You might be right. I think you're right. I think Peter's vacation is like a month after before school officially starts.
What they'll say is, this one is very close to the vest with Bucky and Sam. Like they, like they're not calling anyone else.
That's true.
It's not like a super international incident where you need the Avengers. It's more like
It's localized.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. All right, so there's the action. Honestly, I only want. I have this other scene that I was thinking of, but if you guys have anything else you want to talk about, go ahead and drop it towards the end. But what did you guys think of Sam's speech?
I thought it was a little bit too. Yeah, I think it was a little bit too on your throat kind of thing.
Okay.
I thought it was a great speech, but I thought it was out of place.
Out of place. Interesting.
Yeah, I think it was out of place for sure. It's I think something like that's necessary. First because of the race thing, and second because he is new Captain America. I didn't like the way they did it.
Interesting.
Like it's like I'm Captain America, I'm black. I think there's a better way they could have done that.
How so? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't know. I was actually thinking about this. Like, how could they have done it better? It definitely felt forced. It definitely felt like out of place. To put it like that.
Do you think Captain America's speeches ever feel forced?
I'm trying to think of when Captain America gave us that long-winded of a speech. Steve Rogers, right? He hasn't. His speeches are short and to the point, and he's not Steve Rogers. But it just it didn't feel like that.
Interesting.
What did you feel like that? And again, we shouldn't compare Steve Rogers and Sam, but it didn't feel like a Steve Rogers. I'm going to bring everybody together speech. You don't feel motivated afterwards. You know what I mean?
Interesting. That's interesting because I disagree almost completely, but
I don't think it's a popular opinion, but to me it felt that way.
I mean, I will say this. I will give you this. I do think it's a little heavy-handed with the writing because he's calling out specific things, but ultimately, I do think that he lives up to the legacy of Captain America when he's giving that speech.
That's where I think it makes sense. He needed something like that because that's what Captain America would do. But I think what they chose for him to do didn't really, it didn't really work for me.
It's interesting because the reason I liked it, because obviously ultimately it serves his character, but the reason I liked it is that even though it's heavy-handed, I felt that he was saying a lot of truths in it, a lot of things that are.
Because it's true doesn't mean it's appropriate. Like just because it's true doesn't mean it fits with the narrative.
That's interesting because I felt like with the whole Flag Smashers, that's how it kind of fit, and not only that, but with him being a Black Captain America.
I mean, yeah, I think you can look at it like Sam is a little bit because I'm comparing him to Steve, and Steve wouldn't get involved with that. You know what I mean?
I was about to say what Ed
Yeah,
said.
yeah. I mean, and that's I guess you could say that's more Sam's personality. I'm gonna try and right this wrong politically, which is not something Steve would do.
I don't know if I would agree because Steve does take political stances. They're just stances that go against the government. So he's never really put in a position where he needs to air out his grievances only pretty much in private, whether it's
like
him
for
and
example. I mean, other than Civil War.
Well,
Civil War is the
well, like in Winter Soldier, when he's talking about the whole aspect of security and spying on people and whatnot, and he's talking, and when he's airing his grievances, it's with Nick Fury, but he's never put in a position where he would have to tell the whole world this is how I feel about Shield, but he does.
I don't think he would do something. I think that's out of character.
Well, that's the thing is that he's never put in a situation or position where he would have to do that because.
Yeah, but even if he did, I don't think he would. But I don't think he would do it the same.
But you see,
that's what I think. I don't, need to look at it again a little bit more, I guess.
I feel like he would in the sense that why, if he's put in a situation where he needs to make it known what he feels on a certain issue to the world, I mean, I don't see why he would not say anything just to stay out of it. You know what I mean?
Well, he didn't do it in Civil War. I mean,
But you see, again, Civil War is another thing where it's like a hero versus hero thing, right? They're never really put in the spotlight of the world. They're never put in courtrooms. They're never put in situations where Captain America would have to.
they should have been.
Right. I
Black
mean,
Widow was trying to convince him to go into the UN meeting.
say
right?
what?
Black Widow was trying to convince him to the UN meeting. Go to the UN because she was it.
Yes, that is true. That is true, and he doesn't go to that. That's true. That's true. That's true. I
I will
can't.
say it's more Sam's personality to do something like that.
It's interesting because
So maybe my whole problem with it is that I'm still expecting to figure out his breakdown.
it's just like when you think about it with Captain America, right? Like he never had to do like what Sam did in terms of like saving people and being kind of like intermixed with like being on the ground like the way Sam was, right? The only time he ever was in Avengers 1, and even then it was like aliens invading and stuff. So it's an easy bad guy to hate, right? Here
Yeah.
it's more like it's they're humans, right? It's not as easy to vilify, even though like I said, that's why I don't like Harley and what they do with her, because they make it easy to vilify her. They make it easy to hate her to the point where I don't completely agree with Sam's defense of her, but I do.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of, so like when he brings up the whole idea of like labels, right? Like he's like, it's that's the problem, labels, like calling them terrorists or immigrants or whatever. I do think that in today's world, those kinds of labels are damaging, because there's a lot of, like, unfortunately, right? There's a lot of people who don't think past them and use them derogatorily towards others, you know? Like me and you, we can talk about immigrants, and we know that immigrants are immigrants, right? They're people who cross over the border legally, or if they're legal immigrants, illegally. And that's how we know, right? But other people will use it as a derogatory term, they will see somebody and call them an immigrant with the intent to hurt their feelings or whatnot. But I feel like that, I don't know, I feel like that's one point, right? The whole thing about labels, I think that's important, because I mean, if you see in politics, that's all they do all the time. Label, 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 label. I mean, Trump himself did it all the time, and that's what I hated about it, especially because he would exaggerate. Everything was always the worst thing or the best thing,
Got a lot of bad hombres.
yeah, it's like, oh, come on, dude, just no. But so that whole idea of labels, but also the idea that, oh, you can't possibly know the difficulty of what's going on here, the nuance of the situation, where it's like, well, why not? I mean, he is this black man who has lived through, what he's lived through. Why wouldn't he know, like, what it feels? But also that other point that he brings up, which is the idea that now they have a common thing that they've all suffered through. This is the kind of thing that unifies, or should unify people, right? Instead of dividing them. And I think that's, I don't know, I feel like all those little points, it's kind of like the idea of Captain America of speaking to being like a good person in general, But that's what I think. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Like I said, I don't think like his speech in itself, he was right. I mean, of course he was right. He made some good points. I don't like where it is in the narrative. I don't like the way they use it in the narrative. I think I would need to. I don't see a better way to do it. But I wish they had thought.
What about you, Joseph? What do you think?
I guess I didn't really think it like Steve Rogers or anything like that. I was just thinking of it like, what is happening in the episode. So I wasn't really thinking about anything else. So I kind of liked it. I do hear like some of the things that you're saying, and now I can see how like some of it is like kind of forced, of what he says. But I do like the ultimate message of like where he leads up to. It's like, why can't you do something about it? You're just as powerful as someone who's nobody, or somebody who's an insane god or something like that. He says, right?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I think that's like perfect. Like, that's what all politicians are. They can, like he says, they can make a ship sink with a letter, or they can do this, like that, like things that are like super easy for them to do. Why can't they stop this or help do this and that? Like, you know, I thought that whole section was good. That's what made me like that whole.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with the message. I did like the message. For sure. Wasn't wrong about that.
I really liked it.
What do you think, Jessica? I don't know if...
Yeah, like, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Perfect. Yeah, that the messaging was good. Just kind of, it was different to see Captain America give a speech on politics. So I think even if it was Steve Rogers, I think I would have said the same thing. I don't think it's so much about the color of the person that's saying it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for me, what was the thing that, like, the whole show was about stopping the flag. What are they called? The
Smashers.
Flag,
Flag
smashers. But yeah, he does this one speech and it helps. You know what I mean? Like the senators changed their mind and they didn't do what they were supposed to do or whatever. So for me, that was the thing. Like, he just gave this big speech and all of a sudden they listened to him, which is great. Well, yeah, I guess it is great that they listened to him. But in my mind, my perspective, I was like, well, the whole reason of the show was to stop these people, and because no one was listening, and then he just says one big speech and problem solved. But I guess I didn't think past that, you know?
No, that's interesting you bring that up
True.
because, yeah, kind of like tied in a nice bow. Although, to be fair, we don't ever see them do anything, right? After...
Or 'cause didn't they say, like, oh, because of what you said? Yeah, at the end they say something.
Oh,
Yeah,
they do?
Isaiah, right?
Yeah, he said.
He's like, oh, you must have done something right because they did this and that.
Yeah.
It's kind of vague, but yeah, I mean, I definitely.
But wasn't that because of his statue that they put in the museum?
Well, he didn't know about that. Yet.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Yeah.
No, then you're you're completely right.
I do think, I think Jessica brought up a great point. It's weird to see Captain America talking politics because I would think, and not that Steve Rogers or any Captain America doesn't have his political views, but the what's the word? Not the brand, like the image of Captain America, ideally should be neutral, right? And that's kind of. I don't think, like I said, I agree with Sam's message, but anything in that, Captain America's not a politician; he's kind of thing.
Right. That's interesting you say that because I mean, Captain America, Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, he does take positions that align politically.
Sure. Not on screen.
No. I don't mean Chris Evans himself. No, sorry, that was my mistake. No, just like Steve Rogers in the movies, he takes positions that align politically with certain denominations.
I mean, but not publicly, right? Not like a politician.
Yeah.
Well, right, but then I guess again, I'd go into the thing where he's never put in a situation where he has to,
And I would counter by saying could have.
Well, right, there is a civil war, right? But then again, Peggy died. Bucky might be out there. Like, there's a lot of like extenuating factors that kept them away from.
And I think there's not enough evidence, right? But just as a character study, I think it would be out of place to see him on a podium.
It's interesting because I mean he technically was right in World War II. I mean he was basically the kind of like the poster boy for like Uncle Sam. Yeah, in part 1.
Yeah, and I was thinking about that too, but that was before his character shifted.
Right.
Yeah, that was when he was like their puppet, and then he finds out and he sees himself like, what am I? Yeah, I mean that's all part 1. Right?
Yeah.
Him shifting away from being like America's soldier.
Yeah. So I don't know.
It's because that does make sense. I I just didn't think about it like that. Steve
Yeah. I
I was
mean,
just like, oh.
I guess it's.
But it does
weird
make
for
sense,
all
though.
of
I
us,
go to.
but
What did you say, Jessica?
I guess it's kind of just different. Because in the Marvel movies, it's never been about politics or anything low political. So I
Yeah.
guess it might. I guess threw off some people. Just a little bit of politics in there. Maybe that's what it is. I guess.
Yeah.
You think of superheroes and they're just fixing the world, not so much
Like the real world.
political issues. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's maybe what it was.
Yeah.
That was different.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
yeah, it doesn't ruin the experience either. It just seems,
Yeah.
you know, I wish they had thought of another way to do it, like other than a speech,
Right.
or like maybe like that kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. You see, this is really interesting because obviously we all have different opinions, but I think this is that's what's cool about what this show did. So yeah, I think that's pretty much I have. Oh, I'm totally forgetting. We'll just talk about it for a few minutes. Sharon Carter. What did you guys think about her being power broker?
I think it's great.
Okay.
Like, I think it's pretty cool. Like her aunt is the one who created Shield, and then her niece is the bad guy. Like totally cool. Can't wait to see what they do with that.
Yeah, it's true. I hadn't thought about it like that. I think it's great, and I like her character, and I want to see them do more with it. So I like that. It wasn't really. It was a surprise, but it wasn't like a huge surprise. They were obviously building for something down with her character. So yeah, that was pretty great.
I don't know. I don't know. Like it's because I heard it like in the show, and I don't know. I didn't really pay attention to it.
Did you see the
I
after?
guess like I don't know. Like I was like,
Did you see that?
oh, was there an after credit?
Yeah, there was.
Oh, you see, I didn't see it.
Oh,
Okay.
it's because in the after credits scene they tell her like, "Hey, you've been exonerated. You can come back to the U.S." And she gets on her phone and she's saying like, "Hey,
Okay.
I'm not the power broker anymore," or something. Or no, I forgot what she said. But the last line she
She
said,
have access to like everything.
Yeah,
yeah, that she's gonna.
Oh, okay. See, that's right.
And I think that line is probably tied to Armor Wars. I'm imagining, that Armor Wars show that they're making. That's like one of the shows in the future where it's gonna focus on War Machine, and basically the synopsis is. He has to kind of solve the issue of weapons getting into the hands of the wrong people. You know, kind of like Iron Man, basically. You know, so I think that's what it's tied to. But then again, you also have. What did you guys think of? I forgot what her name is, but basically the lady from Seinfeld, her being
Oh, Julia.
yeah, Julia's. There you go. What did you think about
I liked her
her?
character.
Okay.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I'm interested to see what they do with
Cool cameo.
U.S. agent.
Right. Not that John Walker's U.S. agent. Well, some people have been saying because you also see Zemo somehow blew up those Flag Smashers, right?
Oh yeah.
They're saying that it might be leading to a Thunderbolts show.
Yeah, I think that's one of the theories I've heard.
Yeah, which if you two guys don't know, Thunderbolts is basically Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad, technically, sort of. That's yeah. It's a group of villains.
So like villains.
Yeah. So don't know if it's gonna be good or not, but if they have John Walker and
I can definitely see
Zemo,
that.
right? Yeah.
Well, they're building it up, so
Yeah.
could be, not like DC. I just throw it out there, like they don't care.
But yeah, no, I just thought that was okay. Cool. Sharon Carter, to me, I'm just neutral about it. Really, I didn't hate it or love it. I do like the idea though. What you're talking about, Jessica, the idea of her being the one, the bad guy, and where her mom was the good guy, and potentially being the one that causes more harm than good in future stories. Not just Armor Wars, but supposedly they're going to do Secret Invasion, which could be another S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of scenario, like in Winter Soldier, where you couldn't trust anyone because how Hydra and whatnot, and Secret Invasion is about the Skrulls, people have been Skrulls this whole time, and like, you know, you might have that whole espionage thing, especially because she says, Dreyfus. She says, you know, when things get really weird, you know, we're gonna need a U.S. agent, and when she says really weird, it makes me think that maybe she's referring to Secret Invasion, you know.
Right? Yeah. 'Cause I'm like,
She's
really
supposed
weird.
to actually. She's supposed to come out in it, in Secret Invasion. She's signed up for it.
Oh.
Yeah, and Nick
No,
Fury
that makes-
and Nick Fury's in it, and in the comics they actually had a relationship together. So they
A
might.
relation.
Yeah. Like they're boyfriend girlfriend. Yeah.
Interesting.
So it's gonna be interesting to see how that develops for sure. But yeah. So what would you guys give Falcon or Captain America and the Winter Soldier? What would be your rating for the whole series? Let's just say on a scale of 0 to 10.
Give it an 8. Again, it's just like I give WandaVision an 8 also. It's pretty good. It's standard Marvel, which I like. The thing that kept it from being better was that it was too rough.
Right.
I'm gonna have to go with what Eddie said. An 8, only because it was too rushed. It really was. There could have been more character development, especially with Walker.
Right.
Yeah.
John Walker.
It was just like an extreme, like one episode to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about it with WandaVision how it was rushed as well, but I think this one, this one was, it feels it more.
Mhm.
Maybe because WandaVision had more episodes though.
Yeah, 9 episodes. So. What do you think, Joseph?
I think about the same, like 8, 8.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Or 8.25.
8.37.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'd say probably 8.5. But you see, that's with a caveat, knowing that I didn't like WandaVision as much as this one. I gave it like a 7 when we were talking about that, and that's because ultimately
Yeah.
I think WandaVision doesn't succeed in what it's trying to do completely, whereas I think Falcon does a little bit better. Because as much as I do not agree completely and stuff, I do see, the issues that it does have. Right? I mean, I do understand that his speech is heavy-handed, like, and there's no getting rid of that. It's the equivalent of watching a Christian movie and them telling you, I read in the Bible that God is good, and if you believe that, your life is gonna change. And then the person's like, if God is good, and then there's a montage of them thinking God is good, and then now life is great. So,
little side note, I love a scene towards the end when Sam takes Isaiah to the Captain America Memorial. That was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
I love
Oh,
that. That was great.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
yep.
Yeah.
More of that. That's the Sam as Captain America. But like,
Yeah, I like that. That was really cool, man.
Yep.
And he was like, they'll remember you now
yeah.
forever. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it's very, very.
I guess
poignant.
that's the thing. It's like that's more personal, which is kind of what I like.
Mhm.
What I expect, I guess.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree completely for sure. Yeah.
I like that. It was really cool.
So yeah, that's what we thought about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now Captain America and the Winter Soldier. The showrunner of the show, he's going to be writing Captain America 4. So seems like the story is going to continue into a proper movie. So that's interesting. But yeah, so that's what we thought. Whatever you guys think, comment down below. Let us know. Maybe you loved it. Maybe you hated it. Just let us know. Whatever you think. And that would be all. So